Okay, let us start. So, last few classes, okay, we have start discussed about the different machineries that is required for electrical vehicle and hybrid electrical vehicle. Especially, we have identified the six different components. Out of which, the very first component is a motor or generator. That is for any hybrid electrical vehicle. Because very importantly, we want to include the feature of operating a motor as a generator when there is a need of braking, when there is a deceleration, okay, in an ideal stop and all. So all these places I want to convert my motor as a generator because whenever the braking operation, mainly the braking during the braking operation of any electrical vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle, huge amount of energy is wasted. Okay, in the brake shoes. So instead of that, we can able to retrieve, we can able to recover it back, we can able to feed back to source also. So by means of storing the energy in a battery. So appropriate converters, appropriate reverse power flow is facilitated, and as well as appropriate converter is identified. It is very well easy to have okay stored energy. That is, we can able to retrieve it back. So one statistical information, one experimental information is available there. If a vehicle is running a 100 kg vehicle running at a 100 kilometer per hour speed, if suddenly if it has to be come to brake, okay, if you are make it to zero by means of applying a braking, so automatically around 0.16 kilowatt hour, that is nothing but 0.16 unit of energy is wasted. So that energy can be okay instead of wasted in the brake shoes, with that energy can be converted as a useful energy. We can able to return back to source. So, what is a power source which is available for the electrical propulsion unit in any electrical vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle is nothing but a battery. So, we can able to store the energy in the battery. So, for that only we identified the suitable motors. So, in that we identified that three different variety of motors available. So, among the DC motor and AC motor and some special electrical machines also available. So in the special electrical machines, so we are going to have a switched reluctance motor, SRM motor, only that is suitable for electrical vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle, whereas stepper motor is not suitable for that. Out of that, in the DC machine, we identify the DC series motor and the shunt motor. In AC motor, we identified that the induction motor and also permanent magnet synchronous motor in AC machine. These are all the machines were identified. So as far as the permanent magnet synchronous motor is concerned, we are going to have it okay in a different way also when we are replacing the DC motor as brushless DC motor also. So because even though DC motor is having number of advantages, high starting torque and controlling and etc. There is a very big drawback is that we have to use the brushes, carbon brushes. So automatically it is which is not only very often need to be replaced. So it is producing some spark also sparks. Okay, so it may not be suitable for all the environment, but very high starting torque is possible. We can very precisely we can able to control. At the same time, we can able to very well whenever we are having a braking operation. Okay, whenever we are having a braking operation, so very well we can able to recover. Okay, recover the energy which may be wasted in brake shoes. Okay, we can able to fed back to source also. So these are all the advantages. So with these advantages only, earlier our Indian railway also they have used DC series motor and all. Now, especially after the power electronics concept were emerged, okay, so especially in manufacturing of all the switching devices, okay, ACR and all other small and tiny and as well as very fast acting, fast on and off switches, okay, like MOSFET and all manufactured, okay, as a power with the power concept, power MOSFET, power diodes, okay, power. So with this capability, so they can able to come out with a lot of circuitry configurations, so that it's very much suitable for induction motor application. So earlier, if you want to control the induction motor, either by means of a external source means either I have to go for a changing the voltage or I have to go for a change in the frequency. So both were not that much easily possible. So with the earlier one, so after the power electronics converter configurations were invented, so very easily with availability of components and etc. And a lot of circuit configurations also invented. They were patterned too, of course. So with these circuit configurations, I can able to very well have a control over the voltage as well as I can have a control over the frequency. So as far as the frequency operation is concerned, I can able to very well, very precisely control the synchronous speed operation of any machine. So because in any induction motor, the rotating magnetic field, what is the speed at which rotating magnetic field is rotating is at synchronous speed. So based on the slip value, I can able to identify what value the motor may be running at no load. So with this, these are all the in the designing of motor itself, we can able to get to know these details. So with this detail, if I am controlling the frequency, whether I am increasing or decreasing or changing the frequency from one value to other value, I can able to very precisely predict what speed my rotor will be rotating, because we are only dealing with the stator part of the particular motor only. But even though we can able to predict what speed my rotor will be rotating. So because of this advancement in the recent electrical vehicle, especially like a Tesla, so they have start introducing induction motor as the power propulsion machine. So automatically until that from the 19th century onwards, DC motor only. Even recently came a Nissan Leaf model. Okay, Nissan Leaf model. So the Japanese model headquarters situated in Japan. So they also used DC motor only. But after the Tesla, they start utilizing this especially they identified another means, the efficiency. The very important justification for using induction motors, the efficiency. So the efficiency is remain high, okay, for about the 80 percentage of the operation of the machine. Whereas the efficiency in a DC machine also very high, but it will not be same for the low load also. So whereas in induction machine we can able to have, okay, consistency in efficiency. So it's also high and consistency throughout the operation of the motor also. Okay, so we have started discussing about those things, and now we have started discussing about each motor and its characteristics. Okay, so as far as the DC compound motor concerned, okay, we already know that this is not going to be utilized so far, not utilized in any operation of electrical vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle, because it is having a distinguished characteristics which may be suitable for industrial applications and may not be suitable for the electrical vehicle application. Because when you go for a differential compounder, there is a two different compound only is possible. I think you can able to see in the right hand side, okay, the graph, that is two different ones. This is the first one, and the second one is the upper one. That is nothing but cumulatively compounded. So remaining and all is a comparison only. So if it is working as a series motor, I may have a compound motor with both shunt and series field. So I'm only operating series field. I'm only operating a shunt field. So these are all the comparison only. But of course, as a compound motor, I can able to get only two different characteristics. One is as a cumulative compound. Cumulative compound. That is nothing but whatever maybe the series field effect is supporting the shunt field effect. Whereas a differential compound motor in which the series field effect is opposing the shunt field effect. So in that case, what I can say, I already told this is exhibiting a different characteristics. Okay, that means when will be armature current will be increasing when there is a load is increasing only, armature current will be keep on increasing. So maybe at initially at no load it will be having one armature current. So after that, if you keep on loading, armature current will be increasing. So in a differential compound configuration, my motor exhibiting a totally different characteristics. So whenever armature current is increasing, it is keep on increasing the speed. So we can able to say, we can able to see when the load is increasing, speed also increasing. But of course, it is having a lot of limitations. We cannot have more load. Okay, so automatically there is a possibility of enter into the runaway speed. So many other electrical reasons are there. So as a open elective, so belongs to open elective for other department students. So knowing up to this is enough, I think so. Okay, so if load is in a compound motor, if load is keep on added, especially in one configuration, compound motor having a two different configuration, one is a cumulative compound and another is a differential compound. Cumulative compound Series is aiding shunt field, whereas a differential compound, series and parallel are opposing each other. Okay, so in that configuration, okay, so automatically it is increasing when the load is increasing. So this is the reason why it is may not be suitable identified. So because I need a very high torque, I need a very high torque at starting. That is possible with the series motor, DC series motor. Okay, so whereas the shunt motor is almost a constant torque one, almost a constant torque one. So I cannot able to get a very high start, different variation in the torque. So automatically, DC series motor alone is preferred for either electrical vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle configuration. So this is as a basic motor. So a lot of advancement happened, as I already told. Brushless DC motor came, so which totally avoided the conflict of that, including the brushes. So what is the demerit of a DC? Any DC motor is having a brushes. So that is totally avoided. So totally avoided. So we will move to, so out of these three different configuration, we have seen that. So one is as a series motor, and another one is a separately excited motor. Okay, or we can have a shunt configuration. Then the third one is the compound motor. Out of these three, so we preferred series motor only. Okay, we preferred series motor, or otherwise we can have simultaneously two different motors. When the starting torque is needed, we can have engage the series motor. Afterwards, we can able to switch over the propulsion from one motor to another motor. That is also very well possible. Okay. So next one is the induction motor. We'll come into the AC motor, induction motor. This is a general characteristics. As I already told very importantly, so if you see, this is drawn between torque and efficiency. Torque and efficiency. Okay. So not only torque and efficiency, it is also drawn for torque and speed. Okay. So torque and speed, torque and current. Okay. So x-axis torque. If you see the efficiency of the motor, maybe after certain, okay, after certain 40 percentage or 50 percentage of the torque from this, okay, from this to this, if you see that almost it is like a square. Okay, almost it is like a square. So only a small variation in the torque, that is we can able to get always very high efficiency. Say for example, if it is an 85 percentage, if it is an 85 percentage, okay, I can get 85 percentage efficiency of a particular motor. So from it is 40 percentage to even a 120 or 140 percentage of the full load torque. So that is the very big advantage of an induction machine. So efficiency is high between the wide range of torque. So the rated torque is 100 percentage, means as per the electrical concept is concerned, we can engage any motor with a 120 percentage of its full load speed. 120 percentage. So the motor will be designed to bear that situation, so if it is a torque also will be increased. So automatically if going for that means torque, okay, so sometimes lower speed, say maybe at the 80 percentage, I can able to increase the torque also by means of actual circuit arrangement. So that is also we can have up to 120 140 percentage. So this is a very important feature of any induction machine. And likewise, I can able to vary the speed also when the torque is increasing. Okay, so it's only slight drooping. So even though at 20 percentage, what is a 140 percentage, only maybe 20 percentage or 10 percentage of drooping of speed only. So I can able to maintain the constant speed. I can able to maintain the constant speed. So from the low to high low, that is the thing. So torque is indirectly represent how much load on the particular motor. So automatically when the less load is there, so the torque required is only less percentage. So when the more load is added, torque required is more percentage. So I can able to vary the speed, okay, so or I can able to vary the torque without changing much change in the speed. Without, so I can able to vary the torque wide range without much change in the speed. Okay, that is a very important another one concept of a induction motor. Okay, so of course, like other any other motor, so whenever a load is increasing or whenever we need to go for a torque is increasing, slowly the current will be increasing only. So current will be, it will keep on increasing only. So out of this these characteristics, okay, especially the three different one, the two different one is very much important, because another one, current is common. When the load is additionally added, current will be increasing, will be the speed can be maintained constant. So in addition to that, you have to map, or you have to match the concept I already told. So speed can be constant. Okay. In addition to that, there is a provision of changing the frequency of the supply. Frequency of the supply. If a frequency increasing, as a result of that, what will happen? I can able to increase the speed also. Speed also increasing. Okay. So if a frequency is decreasing, as a result of that, I can able to decrease the speed of the motor also. I can able to change. I can able to proportionally. It is having a. It is simply frequencies directly proportional to the speed of the machine. Speed of the machine. Okay. So why it is very well possible is irrespective of the torque. So from the 20 percentage to 100 and 120 percentage, only a slight variation in speed. So I need not to worry about the load side. If I'm controlling the frequency, whether it is fully loaded, halfly loaded, okay, or more than 100 percentage loaded, 120 percentage of loaded, okay, you say this is a maximum limit of any electrical motor. So the speed can be maintained. So this is a very big advantage of the particular induction motor. So this is the characteristics of induction motor. And another one important characteristics of induction motor is, so it is very well we can able to change the motor operation to generator operation. So especially when the speed, when the speed of the particular motor, okay, it reaches its maximum speed, so torque is after in that point, the torque is having reverse. So if we increase the speed by means of an external force, okay, by means of an external arrangement, okay, so automatically torque, okay, and the net torque is having starting in the reverse direction. So even though the speed increasing in the same direction, so the torque is in a reverse direction. This is called, okay, this is called a generating operation. Okay, generating operation. So up to this normal motor operation, see, up to this speed, okay, up to this speed, so normal motor operation, when the speed exceeds its synchronous speed. So this synchronous speed, in turn, decided by the frequency. Frequency, that is nothing but it is directly proportional to the ns synchronous speed. So what does it mean is, suppose if I'm operating a particular motor, okay, I'm just employing this uh, induction motor in my electrical vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle. I am just operating with some 50 hertz. Say for example, I make it 50 hertz. Okay, 50 hertz. 50 hertz. So 50 hertz I am operating. Okay, normally I am operating here. Suddenly, I want to reduce the speed. So that means I want to decelerate. So suddenly I'm enter into the traffic region. Slightly traffic is there, not very big traffic. Okay, slight traffic is there. So I cannot go so much higher speed. So I have to reduce. So automatically, so by means of, if it is connected to the pedal, okay, acceleration pedal. So if I'm releasing that, automatically frequency will be drastically will be coming down. Okay, say for example, okay, for understanding the concept, for the sake of understanding the concept, if it is come to 30, okay, automatically what will happen, the ns speed will be, okay, will be coming, synchronous speed will be coming very less. Earlier if it is 1500, now, okay, now it may be assume that, I am not exactly calculating, now assume that the synchronous speed of the machine may be coming to 1000 rpm. Assume like that. So what will happen? So now the motor is running. Okay, it is producing a propulsion power at 1500 rpm. Okay, I am making with a sudden change. I am just switching from the frequency of 50 hertz to 30 hertz by means of a proper inverter arrangement. Okay, so that is a power electronic converter is capable of okay, switch over from one frequency to another frequency immediately, simply by means of changing the switching frequency of the devices operating in a converter. Okay, I will let you know what is that. So only now you have to understand this. I am just to decrease the frequency. So now suddenly it is coming to, but it is a mechanical device. Okay, so output is a mechanical power. So motor, okay, motor is an element. Okay, it is a mechanical one. It will not immediately come as we have come from the frequency of electrical state from 50 to 30. So my motor will not be immediately next second. It will not start running 1000 RPM. So automatically now as per this one NS is 1000 RPM, but motor maybe running at 1400 or 450 RPM. Slowly it will decrease. Slowly it will decrease. So until it is reach the value below 1000 RPM, it will be acting as a generator. It will be acting as a generator. So automatically that power. Okay. So because it is now the torque will be in opposite direction. Okay. That means it is decelerating. Okay. It is decelerating, helping to decelerate torque in opposite direction. So because of now 450 RPM above the synchronous speed, because now the synchronous speed is 1000 RPM, but now my motor immediately will not come to 1000 RPM. It will drastically come down. Okay, it will be very quickly come down. Until it is coming down, this energy is in a alternator operation, that is called over speed, above synchronous speed. So in this speed region, my motor will be acting as a generator. So that's what I told. When we are employing the concept of this induction motor, especially in the electrical vehicle and hybrid electric vehicle, okay, so whenever I'm changing the frequency, okay, so synchronous speed also will be changing simultaneously. But as far as the motor is concerned, it will not immediately come to less than the speed, because actual motor speed having is definitely having some slip. So immediately it has to set. Suppose synchronous speed is 1000 RPM means my actual speed of my rotor should be come to what value? Suppose 2 percentage I'm assuming means, say maybe 20. Okay, 980 RPM it should come. Okay, so automatically it will not come. So it has to come to drastically come from this value only. Unless like electrical, I cannot change within a second. So until it is reaching this value, it is acting as a generator. This power, now I am decelerating. So very quickly the vehicle will be decelerate, and here the energy is can be fed back to source. So these are all the very big advantages of induction machine. That is the reason why in Tesla S model, all the Tesla they have used identified. Okay, so induction motor is very much suitable for the power propulsion unit. Because of the advancement, I can able to precisely control frequency. In addition to that, the lithium ion batteries, so they are having a very low rating. Okay, low rating of individual cells. They are also used a battery pack. If you consider a battery pack, it may having a voltage rating and ampere hour rating of any other electrical vehicle, similar to that only. But if you see the mono cell, okay, mono cell concept, so compared to any other battery pack, the mono cell, the very basic, it be having a very low rating. So they have used a lithium ion. Lithium ion. Okay, so automatically this concept, okay, this concept help us to store the energy in the battery very well. So because this is a this is going to be happening for next one 5 second or 3 second or maybe 6 seconds, like that only, from 1450 rpm to, so this energy, whatever the small amount of energy also can be stored, retrieved back. That is a very important concept of any induction motor. Of course, we know that synchronous motors are having always at a running at a synchronous speed. So automatically, so whatever maybe the speed regulation is 0%. We cannot have a speed regulation. So it will be always running. So what is the no load speed? That will be the full load speed also, NL. So here it is given as NL. NL means speed at no load minus speed at to full load. Speed at full load. So if you see that no load speed is equal to full load speed, automatically speed regulation is not possible in the synchronous motor. But whereas this synchronous motor, okay, can be realized. Okay, suppose if you are employing a concept of brushless DC motor, synchronous motor is also working as the same principle that the field is rotating, armature is stationary, but I have to give a supply, external supply to the DC supply to the rotor of the particular synchronous motor. That is a field excitation. Instead of that, if I'm running as a motor, if it is having a bundle, okay, so built up. So electronically, if I'm having a rectifier arrangement in the rotor circuit without having any external electrical supply, so I can able to convert this as a BLDC, brushless DC motor, brushless DC motor. So that is a new concept. Okay, now I think Chevrolet model, Chevrolet car electric vehicle, they have used a brushless DC motor only. So okay, so it is American and Chinese collaboration. Okay, so that particular engine, okay, they are manufactured. So knowing this is enough. As far as this one, what are the characteristics of motors? Okay, especially DC series, okay, shunt and induction motor, okay, and synchronous motor. So if in this case, what will happen is I can have a control over the rectified output, DC output, but I am just avoiding the concept of brushes. So no any brushes is used. So because of that, if I'm able to control the field excitation, I can able to control the speed. Speed can be varied. Okay. So but as it is as a synchronous motor, we cannot have, there is no any possibility of speed regulation. Speed regulation is zero. Okay. So this is a concept. We have come to the end. So as okay, drawing, okay, how much is the speed? How much is the power output? So what is the power output and how much is the speed? Revolution per minute. So with this, I have a graph for all the type of motor. Here a DC motor is there, squirrel cage induction motor is there, permanent magnet synchronous motor is there, okay, non-salient pole synchronous motor is there, salient pole synchronous motor is there. So if you see that, so salient pole synchronous motor and non-salient pole synchronous motor. Okay, so if their revolution per minute also available is, we cannot have very high speed. Okay, and also power rating is very high. So this and all will be useful only for as a generator configuration. Okay, synchronous machine may be very much helpful for us a generator only. So that is why for large power generation they are used. So if we come to the squirrel cage induction motor and DC motor, this is having exactly a similar characteristics. But whereas using a squirrel cage induction motor, I can have I can have a speed up to, okay, so more than 10,000 RPM also is possible. Whereas a DC motor is having a limitations, because when the DC motor is concerned, I have to go for a rotor supply. Okay, so through the brushes arrangement, so whenever it is go beyond certain speed, there will be a lot of sparking will keep coming. So it is having a limitation. I cannot manufacture, I cannot design any DC machines which is normally more than 5,000, 6,000 RPM. So it lead to a practical problem. Okay, sparking very often. So automatically when the speed is increasing, so I have to replace the brushes very often. So many maintenance problem and all will come. Okay, so in another way, permanent magnet synchronous motors. This is what the concept we are going to use. Permanent magnet synchronous motor, where the rotor is, suppose the rotor, okay, rotor supply also by means of electrically isolated, by means of electronical rectifier you may be having, you see you can have. So out of this, I am having a one good identification is induction motor, and another one, if I'm using a permanent magnet synchronous motor, that too if a rotor side is electrically isolated, using a rectifier concept inbuilt, the bundle is inbuilt, not having electrically connected to any external supply means I can have another one very good configuration is brushless DC motor. Okay, so these are all the two available feature motors. So two important. So of course we can have a DC motor also, which is same as that up to certain speed we can have. So third variety, I can have a DC. Out of this all the motors, I can go for a DC motor, or I can go for AC in case of AC induction motor, or I can go for a brushless DC motor. So these are all the three motors we can identify as suitable for any electrical vehicle and hybrid electrical vehicle. Of course, these motors are having other industrial application. Very well, they may be suitable for power generation. Okay, this motor, okay, so will be acting, can be acting as a generator. If external power is given, mechanical power is given as a input, so it can produce a electrical output, that is as a generator. So that is not a problem. Only our view, our aim is to identify out of this all the electrical machines which are all very much suitable. Because why it is suitable also I have explained. Is there any doubt, any clarification? You can feel free to ask. Any clarification? You can very well ask. Are you all able to understand the characteristics? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Are you all able to understand the characteristics?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what about food processing technology? Have you studied electrical machines already? Any electrical subjects? Food processing students, food processing technology. Nobody in this meeting, huh? Food processing. Okay. What about NA, naval architecture and offshore engineering? Have you studied electrical subjects, machines already?
Yes, sir. Basic triple E and all it came, sir. Lab and all we studied, sir.
Okay. Machines studied, huh? Have you studied machines?
Yes, sir. Lab we had, sir.
Lab you had. Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
you know how it is characteristics, what does it mean and all, you know very well, no?
Yes, sir.
Especially
Yes, sir.
mechanical characteristics means between speed and torque means you can able to know. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I think mechanical students, I am sure they already studied basic electrical and even drives concept also they have studied. What about mining? Petroleum engineering students? Petroleum students? Hello? Petroleum engineering students? Today only up to this 19 only. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll proceed further. Okay, because anyhow, as I already told, it is an open elective. It is having qualitative treatment only, no any quantitative. So the only thing is, what are all the motors that may be identified suitable? Okay, for electrical vehicle and hybrid electrical vehicle, vehicles among the given options, among the available options. So, in order to justify only, we are covered. So, no need of any constructional details and other circuitry configuration and all. What is the classification of motor? What is its characteristics? So, okay, so up to that, among that, how will you select? How will you identify the suitability of the machine, which is for the electrical vehicle application? That is enough. Okay. So next we are going to see. So this is the drive. Okay. Now, so far we have seen as a individual component. So as a motor is an individual component in any electrical vehicle. But as far as the system concerned, electrical vehicle means it is a system. A hybrid electrical vehicle means it is in a system. When we are when we have to make this component work perfectly well in any system, we have to go for how it is matched with mapped and matched with the other system components. Okay, so as far as the motor is concerned, unlike an industrial application, the motor alone is not deciding. So as far as the electrical vehicle, hybrid electrical vehicle concerned, the motor is going to be, yeah, only a unit which is producing the required amount of mechanical power. and also it is going to act as a generator when there is a braking. But the power flow direction, how much power input, what is the frequency, what is the voltage, what is the direction of rotation, everything is going to be decided by the other units only. So I cannot have, or I cannot employ the particular motor alone as a component. I have to go for another one concept called electric drive. Electric drive. So what is the difference between a motor and electric drive? Motor is an individual component, but electric drive means it is not about an individual component. It is a group of component arranged in such a manner that, okay, so it is capable of, okay, executing a incorporated work or desired work. Okay, so what is incorporated or desired work? It is capable of doing that with a arrangement of all other components in a designed manner. Okay, so this is a very fundamental block diagram of any electric drive. So here, what is that means? I am having a source, that is a power source which is given for the entire thing. So that is given to a power modulator. Power modulator. Then power modulator will give the electrical power required form. So because as far as the motor is concerned, this may be DC motor, okay, this may be AC motor, or sometimes even you can have a universal motor also we can have which is running. So main classification I have to give the DC and AC supply. Okay. So load, okay, load, whatever may be the load, it is a to a motor, the load will be usually a mechanical load only. Okay. So that load having a mechanical characteristics. It demand some specific mechanical characteristics. That is, it demands certain speed, it demands certain torque. So automatically, if two are determined, that will facilitate what is the power required. So this load need certain amount of power with certain amount of speed and torque. So out of this, if I'm able to decide these two, I can able to automatically meet out the final requirement how much power. So the motor has to feed the load, the motor has to provide the particular power to the load in such a specific speed and torque. So this can be varied. This can be varied. So automatically these two information I can able to get from the load, or I can able to get how much power transfer at what speed, at what torque, at what torque. Okay. So in addition to that, so from the motor as an electrical, okay, device, as an electrical equipment, I can have what is the voltage at which it's feed, what is the current it is taking, what is the current it is taking. So these are all the electrical parameters that I can able to measure from the motor. These are all the mechanical parameters, okay, I can able to sense from the load or the shaft or coupling. Through the coupling I can what speed, what torque. So these four information can be sensed. Say for example, I have to sense the speed means what is a normally we are using means how we are measuring the sense means we can use a tacho generator. Okay, that is called, we usually call it tachometer. It is called usually in electrical it's called as a tacho generator. If you keep, automatically it will rotate. So automatically this tacho generator, okay, so will produce certain voltages. We can able to calibrate that voltage to the particular level. So if it is producing 100 voltage mean I can able to make a display that 1500 rpm. Okay, otherwise, if instead of going a digital tachometer, if I'm going analogous, I can able to convert this rotation to a revolution per minute. Revolution per minute. So my analogous tachometer may have show the readings, how much speed it is giving. Okay, so this information is taken. Okay, this information is taken. Likewise, what is the current? It is drawing. The motor is drawing from the power modulator at what voltage. So from these two information, So one can very easily calculate what is the torque, motor torque. Okay, motor torque, how much it is produced. Okay, so these are all the sensing units. So sensing unit is nothing but it's having a number of sensors. It is having a number of sensors. Each sensor is dedicatedly provided in the sensing unit to continuous monitoring of certain parameters. So what are all the maximum possible parameters? Four parameters are maximum possible. So in addition to this, there is a one more parameter is also possible in a latest way, that is called frequency. Okay. So as far as the electrical parameters concerned, voltage, current, and frequency of the particular supply given to motor, these three parameters can be sensed, monitored. As far as the mechanical parameter concerned, I can able to sense speed and torque. Okay, so here this is the unit. So after the sensor sensing this information is given to a control unit. What is really control unit is, I said a power modulator. Power modulator is nothing but whatever may be the energy source, whether the energy source is an electrical or energy source is any generating unit. Okay, if it is a renewable energy sources, whatever it may be, it is converted to electrical energy here. Only I can able to tell electrical energy is provided, but it may be of any form. It may be of DC, it may be of variable DC, it may be of AC, okay, it may be a pulsating DC, any form it may be. Through the power modulator, I am providing what is the required. I am stick on to a requirement of the motor. What is the specification? Okay, so here I usually in motor you can able to see in a nameplate what is the power requirement. Okay, so that means I have to provide 5 kilowatt. What is the speed? Okay, no load speed is 1500 RPM. I have to give a current. So a maximum load current is permissible is 10 amps. Okay, likewise, so many things will be there. So this is the specifications of a motor. That is a, as far as power modulator, load is motor. As far as the motor, load is the mechanical load. Okay, so these specifications, the specified information can be provided by the power modulator irrespective of the type of the source. Say for example, for make you understand, okay, simply to make you understand, I so for example, I'm having a uh, AC motor. Say for example, I'm having a AC motor. Okay, so in this case, if a AC motor is there, suppose this AC motor has to run with a renewable energy sources, say for example PV panel. So automatically the output of the PV panel is DC only. So PV panel is capable of producing electrical power in DC, direct current only, direct current supply only. But this motor need AC. So what will be the power modulator? A power modulator which converts DC to AC. So first of all, I should have a power modulator which is capable of converting DC to AC. So what is the frequency at which supplying 50 hertz means this AC supply in turns having a this much voltage, this much frequency. Likewise, I can specify. Suppose I'm having, okay, so AC supply. This motor is a DC one. So I'm having a DC series motor means here first I have to convert this AC to DC. At what voltage this motor need a DC supply? What is the voltage? To that voltage it has to go. So that is why the concept calls modulator. Here source. Here it is called as a energy source. So with the assumption that it is capable of producing, okay, infinite amount of energy sources. Whatever the energy required will be provided by the source. But power modulator, it is facilitating by means of converting the, okay, form of energy sources to a required form. What is a required form? What is a form in which motor required? So this is how this is working. So after sensing this unit, this power modulator, no, this is power modulator is nothing but power converters. In electrical way, we are saying that this is power converter. Okay, so uh, very majority of the circuitry configurations are power electronic circuits only. Okay, so these power electronic circuits, in turn, they are using the switches, fast acting electronic switches. Say, for example, for the sake of understanding, okay, because it's you are all from other department, I am saying that if it is a DC supply, this example already we have discussed. Okay, once again here also I would like to highlight the same. I am having a one switch. Okay, I am having another one resistors. Load is there. Resistor load is there. So if I have to make this switch per second 60 times, 60 cycles, 60 with the frequency of 60 means 60 times in a second I have to make an on and off beats. That is absolutely not possible by means any mechanical switch. So that is why in this place I am going for electronic switch. So what are all the electronic switches? What is the advantage of electronic switches is it is capable of operating at very high frequency. Say for example 60 time it is making on and off means per second I can able to tell I can able to tell this is 60 hertz, 60 hertz, 60 hertz. Usually we are calling this number of cycles per second. Each cycle one on and off may happen. So 60 hertz I can able. So likewise electronic devices are capable of operating in terms of megahertz. So that means within a second it is capable of operating 10 power 6 10 power 6 times. Okay, 10 power 6 times it is capable of operating on and off. That much, even suppose if you're taking a MOSFET, very high, that is called very high frequency. Usually the frequency in the sense means number of times it is on and off. So per second, within a second, how much time is it? So the electronic switches are especially this type of SCR, thyristor, triac, diac. Okay, these are all the switches. So among the some of the MOSFET like that switches, it is an electronic component. Okay, electronic device. It is capable of operating at very high frequency. So what I am doing is I am using the particular switches in the power electronic converter. Power electronic converter that need some input. So that device normally will be calling as a semiconductor devices. Semiconductor devices. That means without any external triggering, without any external triggering, it won't conduct. It won't conduct. So first of all, what is a semiconducting devices is without any external devices, it will not conduct. With external supply, okay, triggering, it will start conduct, okay, but it will not be fully conduct. If I'm increasing the strength of the triggering signal, I can able to make it as a conduction. Okay, so that is why it is called as a semiconducting devices, semiconductors. Okay, these semiconducting devices are incorporated. So automatically, for a requirement of particular voltage, how what should be the signal strength, triggering signal strength, that will be decided by the control unit based on the input at present and based on the input command from my side. This is the user I'm giving. Say for example, this is a user command. As per the electrical vehicle is concerned, this is nothing but your pedal, acceleration pedal, acceleration pedal. So from the standstill I want to operate means I am giving the, now I have to give a rated voltage to this. So automatically what will happen? Sensing element will be given. So no voltage, no current, speed also zero, torque also zero, that will be given by here. So automatically this will apply a complete signal strength in such a way that the energy sources is converted to a rated voltage and current to this motor. So immediately motor will be start rotating. So vehicle, my load is nothing but my vehicle. It will start moving. So now this information of what is the speed, what is the torque at which it is rotating, etc. Now accordingly, it will be fine tune the voltage further. Okay, this will be in the closed loop. So until the record, so I'm accelerating now. Now I'm maintaining the accelerator. I am not further increasing or further decreasing. I want to maintain the acceleration. Say for example, 50 kilometer per hour. 50 kilometer per hour. So until this speed, Okay, until the speed become 50 kilometer hour, it will be keep on fine tune. At one point of time, my sensing unit speed will be sensed as a 50 kilometer mean it will be maintained. Control unit further will not strengthen the triggering signal or will not weaken the triggering signal. Okay, it will maintain what voltage, what current is going by which I am getting the desired output of 50 kilometer per hour. It will be keep on maintaining. So this is absolutely possible when we are having the all the components okay in such a manner only. We have arranged source, power modulator, motor, load, sensing unit, control unit, everything in such a way, then only I can able to realize this arrangement. Okay, this arrangement is called as electric drive. Electric drive. Okay, suppose if I'm using a motor, DC motor means this will be called as DC electric drive. So of course you know that if it is a AC motor means AC electric drive. Okay. So with this we'll come. I am concluding today's session. Any clarification on this electric drive concept? Any clarification on this electric drive concept?
No, sir.
Are you all able to understand completely how electric drive is working? Hmm? So what is a sensing unit? What is a controlling unit? What is a power modulator? What is a motor? What is a load? With a one example, as an electrical vehicle, I already told. Okay, so I think still some 2 more minutes. Okay, so we will go one more slide. Okay, so this is what I told you. Know, I told different type of power modulators. This is exclusively power modulators only. So here, if you see that power modulator, one power modulator is there. So in which I am giving a energy source is three-phase AC. So I am going to see only source and power modulator. I am going to see the combination of source and power modulator. So I am giving an energy source which is a three-phase AC. But whereas I need a fixed DC as a output. So for that, what should be my power modulator? My power modulator should be diode rectifier. Next to one same case, I want to have a variable DC instead of a fixed DC voltage. I want to have a variable DC voltage. In that case, my power modulator may be half controlled thyristor rectifier. So, what is the energy source? What is the requirement of motor? These two will decide the type of power modulator need. This is called power modulator. So if energy source is three-phase AC, I want fixed DC, simple diode rectifier is enough. If I want to have a variable DC, same arrangement, variable DC means I have to go for controlled, half controlled thyristor rectifier. The same way, if I have to go for, okay, if I am given with a three-phase AC supply, but I want to have a variable DC. Variable DC means either as a second case, I can go or I can go with a third, one more arrangement, one more step I'm increasing. First, I am converting as a diode rectifier. As per the first one, first I am converting as a diode rectifier. Then I am going for a chopper. So here, these two combination of these two will be called as power modulator. Combination of these two will be power modulator. This is a stage, two-stage power converter. Two stage. This is single stage. If I'm using only one circuitry arrangement, simply input is converted to a required output, single stage. If I'm using a two different converter, this is called two stage. First stage, I'm converting this given three-phase AC supply to diode rectifier. If I given a diode rectifier, what will the output voltage? Fixed DC will be the output voltage. But what is the requirement? Variable DC. For requirement of variable DC, I am going for chopper circuit, which is capable of converting fixed DC to variable DC. So this is a two-stage power conversion, power modulator. The same way I am having a AC motor. Okay, I want to have a variable DC means I can able to connect a DC generator. So, but these are all before the power electronics concept were incorporated. See, if these both are same, I am having a three-phase AC. I want to have a variable DC voltage means without going for AC motor, which is connected to a DC generator. So now I'm varying the field excitation. What I can get? I can get a variable DC voltage. Without having a rotating machine, introducing a rotation machine, I can able to convert the given AC supply to a variable DC by having a static circuits. Static circuit means which will not rotate or which will not make any vibration visibly moving and all. It will be stationary. So this static circuitry arrangement will capable of giving a variable DC, fixed DC and all. Earlier they have used this one only, this type of combination only. They are going for a multiple machines, rotating machines only, where they are able to convert it. Now, because of the advancement of power electronics, I can able to introduce a power modulator. Here also power modulation is happening. AC to variable DC by means of rotating machine, by means of a static circuits. Okay, static circuits I can able to get the required output. So same way I am having a three-phase AC. Okay, I can have a variable voltage DC. Another one means fully controlled thyristor rectifier. So two stage also is possible. There are so many power modulators available. Only thing is we have to know what is the input, what is the input, what is the output required. Whether we can have a single stage conversion, single stage power modulator, or we can have a multiple stage, two stage, three stage, like that we have to decide. So that is what happening in the inside the power modulator. What is the source, what is the output, that will decide the type of the power modulator. So for this power modulator we are going to study, so what are all the rectifier arrangement, what are all the inverter arrangement. The rectifier arrangement is nothing but if a AC input is given, that will be converted. So AC to DC is called rectifier. If it is DC to AC means it's called inverter. Inverter. Okay. So these are all the two circuit arrangement we are going to learn. Okay, in this unit, especially which is applicable to the electrical vehicle application. Okay. So I think most time now I'm just stop today's class here. Any clarification you can ask, very well ask. Is there any clarification?